this more. I'm trying to record as a private video. Let's see if I decide to make it public. Yeah, but I'm going to be trying to make it for you folks who are close to my heart. All right. So I'll tell you, yeah, so a little bit about me. I don't know how much you know about me. I'm born in 1970 in a lower middle class family. I'm 53-year-old now. I have two kids. My son is 22 years. He's working in a IT company on Java and those kind of things and all. And he did his graduation in one of the deemed universities in Chennai. Right. And my daughter, she's 18-year-old and she is doing a honors degree in journalism and psychology, and she prefers to build a career in psychology. She's studying in Bangalore. Okay. So that's a bit background about me. Right. I'm involved in, I'm going to do this more like a storytelling. Right. So I told you most of the time that, so I started, I think I'll come back from the reverse, which will be more interesting to you. Then I come back and talk about the skills, basically, right? So, okay. So, how to build a successful career? Let's show the end, right? Let's do the climax first and move backwards, right? So, I'm going to do a case study, which is myself, right? My name is Hari. I'm doing a case study of myself, right? Let's see how I was when I was a 21-year-old, how I was there, what I did, how now I'm 53-year-old, where I am today, right? So let's see that, and I'll do more like a storytelling, right? My education, right? So I studied in a self-financing college or a private college belonging to University of Madras, right, in Chennai. Yeah, basically I'm born and brought up in Chennai, right? So I joined that particular college called Sri Venkateswara College of Engineering, called SVCE, in 1987, right? So the same college where Dr. Kamakoti is the director of IIT Chennai now. So Dr. Kamakoti was 2 years senior to me. He was the first batch who graduated out of that particular college, and I'm the third batch to come out, right? Maybe he was the topper. I was a topper in my batch, right? When we did that function and all, the college was moved to they did an annual award function. I got awarded along with my other friends, other departments. If I remember correctly, Dr. Shankar Dayal Sharma was the vice president there, and the governor was somebody, one of the president Bihar was the governor. You can go and look at. It is the year 1992, right? So when Dr. Shankar Dayal Sharma was a vice president, at the time he was a president elect. So I got the award from him, and that unfortunately the photographer was not done. College told they'll send me the photo, but the photo was lost. So I don't have the memory, but I have the shield with me. It's still at home, right? So I was the number one in the college. I came first of the college. I was a third batch, and so I was happy to share the same college with Dr. Kamakoti, right? So the entire world knows who's Dr. Kamakoti today, and I'm not that well known, right? So you know that, right? Only a handful of people know about me, right? So that was my bachelor's. So I had my CGPA, my overall percent was 76%. There's no CGPA concept there. So there was I got about 76% or something. Still I was a topper, right? That was from third year to the final year. First year typically they don't count at that time. Right? I got about 76%, and my final year project was in digital signal processing. We did some hardware design and some programming. I don't remember. I have the project report. I think we built some hardware with doing some digital filtering. Some filtering we did on digital signal processing. Right? So that was my project. So we did done on the college guide, and most of the lecturers were fresh from the college. Who passed, they don't get job, they become lecturers at that time, or people who retired from Anna University. Probably you wouldn't have known, he was one of the top person in Anna University at the time. He retired and he was a principal of the college during my time. His name is Dr. Venkatesh Nayak Sujir. He's no more, I suppose. He was a 60 plus at the time, and he was a principal. And he used to teach basic electrical. He was an electrical engineering professor. He used to take electrical. But problem is that they were somewhere level high, right? They don't come to the student level and teach. And he was not very audible. He's very old at the time, right? He was not very audible, and he is a very knowledgeable person. And similarly, we had another fantastic head of the department. His name is Dr. Ramanathan. He's also no more now, and he's very strong in his fundamentals, but they cannot communicate properly with the students, right? So they don't come to our level. If you want to teach the students, you have to really become a 20-year-old, and you have to come to their level and teach them or train them, whatever, right? Otherwise, the connect doesn't happen. So it was not happening there, and most other people, faculties were learning along with us. That's what we used to joke. All my friends, we all say, so all this XYZ lecturer also learned along with us. When I wrote the GATE examination, some of my lecturers also took my GATE material, and we are preparing together for the GATE examination. Myself and one of my friends His name is Vasudevan. He's not in the electronics field now. He worked in Cognizant and now I think he's working in some IT services company, more on IT side, right? So we both of us we prepared GATE the year 1990 to 1991 when I was in my final year, and we got through, right? So I got a score of 93 or 95 or something. So in the first attempt I didn't get. I joined. That is my bachelor's. I'm going to my next master's degree. I took up MTech in instrumentation, Birla Institute of Technology in Ranchi. Right, the first time I was stepping out of South India, I went to Calcutta first, where my auntie and uncle were living there. My father were giving a lot of advice in the train. First time I was traveling alone in the train. Right? Don't do this. Don't open windows on your own. You know, right? What happened? Protective kid, a lower middle class family, very conservative family. Right. So a lot of advice. Don't do that. Don't get down in the station. Don't buy anything there. Don't do this. Don't do that. A lot of instructions. So I reached there, and my uncle came and picked me up. Then from there, I took a train and went to Ranchi. Train was delayed. It was peak winter at that time. Not winter. It was summer only. It was June, July time frame actually, right? So yeah. So we somehow I reached Ranchi. I went to the campus on my own. Figured it out. I didn't know Hindi that much. I broken Hindi. I knew Hindi a little bit because I studied on my own private, my own interest. So I know Hindi a little bit at the time. So when I landed in Ranchi, and it was a different kind of climate, and most of the people from Andhra Pradesh they came there, and so people were telling that there was a joke going on along the North Indians that fortunately the train came late on the day when the interview was happening. Train from Andhra Pradesh came late, whatever train name, I don't remember the name. Fortunately, the train came late. Otherwise, the entire MTech batch would have been taken over by Andhra Pradesh. That was the comment. People were joking. Jokingly, they were telling, no offense, right? So all the friends and my North Indian friends were making a fun out of people coming from Andhra Pradesh, right? It was kind of huge people from Andhra Pradesh had represented in the masters there, right? So I was doing the masters. I was not very interested because the climate was very different. When the winter set in, I found it very difficult. You know about the Chennai climate, right? Always 30 degrees average. Even in winter, you get 14 degrees, right? And in Ranchi, what will happen? The minimum temperature goes to 4 degrees or 6 degrees, whatever, right? I couldn't tolerate, and the food was very different. Because I'm a typical like South Indian boy, born up in Chennai. We used only to sambar and curd rice and some these kind of thing. And all the when you say paneer was very new to me. I never heard the name paneer, right? And the taste was very weird to me, like very unknown taste. And why this guy is charging paneer extra, so much money for paneer, right? I, I don't understand what is fried rice, what is noodles. I had no idea basically, right? So I had to figure it out slowly, and I got sick. Not a homesick was obviously there, but food sick was because food was not able to digest that food, and yeah, so it became a little difficult for first few months. I came home during Diwali Dasara time. One of my cousin was getting married, so I managed to come home and attend that marriage in Kerala and went back. Yeah, my family really was seeing that I was struggling health and things. Basically, food was a problem. Basically, I was not able to get used to that food. And typically, you guys know what a hostel mess food looks like, right? And we was alien there, and even the whatever rotis and parathas, I couldn't even like it, right? It's a different story. Later on, I started enjoying more of the food. Later on, I'll come to the story in a few minutes. So I did that, and then I saw an ad in the newspaper that IIT Kanpur advised for the gave advertisement for a winter admission. I think called spring admission, whatever it is, right? For the winter or fall admissions, right? So the month of November, I saw an ad in the paper. They are admitting people, and then I put my application for MTech in microelectronics. Yeah, that is a major I wanted to do. That was always my dream. I don't know why I wanted to do microelectronics. I had no idea. There was no VLSI at that time, 1991. So I applied for microelectronics for whatever reason. I have no clue what is microelectronics is. I thought electronics was microelectronics. I had no idea. So that's how we had nobody to guide us, and there's no Google, there's no internet in those days actually, right? So we went down there, and so I got out to a train, went out to Kanpur, and it was again heavy winter, it's in the night, and got a particular occasions. I given one of the hostel room, stayed there. Next day there was a written test. I wrote the written test. I qualified. There was an interview. So I think there are a few professors were sitting there. They we came back from Spain, right? So the recording is hopefully continuing, right? So went to Kanpur and the written test, I cleared it. The interview was quite okay, good on well. I think fortunately and for whatever, my God was in my favor, if you believe in God, right? So they asked about the project, what was the BTech project, right? So, and why do you want to join? There's regular questions, and they also discussed about the project. And I don't know, maybe the faculty was more into signal processing there. He asked me some questions. Maybe it was digital filter was, I don't know, it was interesting at the time. I have no idea. So all the discussions were about the project, which I could, because there a 4-member team did, and I did most of the work there, the project on the hardware part of it at least. So they asked a lot of questions. I could answer pretty much everything well. And general questions they asked about why do you want to do microelectronics? I don't know what I answered. So it went on, and I think then I came out and no expectations. And after an hour, they announced the results. My name was on the board. There are 6 people who were selected for my control systems, microwave communications, and microelectronics. Right. So I think there are 6 to 8 people who were selected in that fall semester. There are 2, 3, 4 of us were at microelectronics. I think I'm in contact with 3 of them today. They're very, very close buddies, right? And 2 people were in control systems, and 2 people were in microwave, right? So totally we are about 12 people. Like if I remember, one guy probably one guy discontinued in between one public service commission or whatever. His name was Alok something. Some Alok. Right? It was my opposite to my room, so he was close to me, right? So problem is that what happened, because I joined in the fall, I had to do the second semester first, right? That was a kind of becoming disadvantage, and you all know IIT is how stressful it is. It's a big beast, right? But I got a lot of connects, a lot of Tamil people were there. I got connected, and yeah, so it became more friendly environment. By the time I got used to the food, the rotis, parathas, and egg burjis, and I got more friendly with the paneer and everything, right? So I like more of North Indian than the South Indian at that time. So some transformation happened. So health probably slightly improved because I started eating eggs because I'm a pure vegetarian, but started eating eggs at that point of time. So I made good friends. My friends are in, one guy is in one of the companies, I don't know, Flipkart or something. He's a senior person. I just picked him on LinkedIn. He's in a Flipkart, one of my 6 months senior, basically, right? He's in Flipkart. One guy is in right now in Intel in US is there. There's one more senior of my guy, like I would recollect. He was just passing out when I got into the campus. He must be 2 years senior to me. His name is Raman Santana Krishnan. He's working in some Cisco or some of the Broadcom, some of the networking companies. First advice he gave me is, Hari, every day you learn 2 Unix commands minimum. So go to spend in the computer hours, you take a Linux book, you learn 2 Linux command at least every day. You learn scripting, that will be useful. That's a advice I got in year 1993, 30 years before, from one of my seniors, right? So that's how I started. I took it seriously. I learned the Linux book every day. I used to spend half an hour, and I slowly got attracted to spend more time on the Linux than spending and on the class works and everything. Since it was, I told I did a second semester first, right? Because we joined in the fall. I had to be my other 6 months senior people were there. So we do the solid state devices too. I had to do first. So all the first semester portions I had to do the second semester later on, right? Because we joined in the middle. So it was kind of a little difficult. Right? Open book exams were there. I thought it is easy open book exam. I never know what is open book exam. So we went there, and Dr. Tyagi was a person who, MS Tyagi, I forgot his, he wrote books on, he's very good in semiconductor device physics. I remember still some of the classes, what he told, and he's a very friendly person. He's very old person. He was 50 plus at that time, right? And Dr. Hassan, Dr. Mohammed Hassan, he is one of the professor, was in most VLSI. VLSI is more about stick diagrams and MOSFET, some simple layouts. That's VLSI pretty much at that time, in 1992, right? I graduated in 93, right? So it's 91 and 92 time frame. And my guide was a person called Dr. Alok Datta, right? He's from Bengal, and he's at Louisiana State University. He did his PhD from. John, he was very new from the graduated. He came first, and I signed up as a professor because he was working more on device modeling and those kind of things and all. So the first semester I did very badly. I flunked in one of the. I got a D grade, right? So I got 1B, 2 Bs, 1 C, and 1 D, I suppose, right? So it got balanced. I got a 6 CGPA in the thing, which is then the dean academic called me and was given a warning. So if you don't improve, you'll be sent home. Right? Just because of one D grade, what I got, that was a very tough paper. But Dr. Taki was a very friendly person. On the Diwali, everyone went home. I was stuck there. I think the year 1992, I suppose. most of my friends, everyone went home for Diwali. Then he called me in the evening to his home to celebrate Diwali with his family. Right? He's a very friendly person. He's talking all kind of jokes, playing jokes. Generally, was talking about few words what he know in Tamil. He was trying to understand more about our culture, and he was introducing me to his family members. Very friendly conversation. I kind of otherwise I would have been homesick. All the friends, everyone went home for Diwali, and I was the only who got stuck. Right? So that helped actually, and it was very funny actually, right? Very nice moments we had. So nice of that professor to do that kind of connect and call me to his home. Even though he's a tough taskmaker and we couldn't follow any of his lectures, he wrote. You can go and search MS Tyagi on device physics. He wrote some books, and he used to show that books to us also. And he used to be a very jovial person. He used to, with a lot of action, emotion, he used to talk. Right, so that used to happen. Right, and so that was his person. MS Mohammed Hassan was on Veeras's side, and we had one more professor. We had a small fab. I'm trying to recollect what is that fab, what technology and things. We had a small fab too, but I think this to fab a transistor, I suppose, not a chip. I forgot. I'll ask some of my friends and I'll come back to you. Please remind me, and I'll get back. We had a small fab because we had a clean room and fab, and we used to go there and look at that how to do the wafer or what I forgot actually, right? Used to fabricate the transistors. That was good enough. We got some basic fundamental how the fabrication works. Then we are second semester. We had to be a TAs. We do the TA role. First semester there's no TA role. In the second semester we had it was 18 months course, not like a 2 year. It was 18 months. So second semester we had to do the TA role. So I think that time we learned the SPICE modeling and we had to teach the SPICE and those something and all. We had to look at the labs, oversee the things and those kind of things. So we were doing I got analog circuits thing to teach the SPICE for the BTech students or whatever it is. That was a good learning. And my project was the second semester I did extremely well. The VLSA topics on the solid state devices. I think I got a B grade or something. I got 2 A grades. Overall, my CGPA went to 9.6 or something, 9.5 or 9.6. So see, from 6, it went to 9.6. So how much I would, and finally it settled down to 9.3 or somewhere. I'll get my 6. So if somebody wants to look at my grade card, I should be able to get it. Overall, I got some 9 or something. So second sem I got 9.6 CGPA, right? Which was good transform 6 CGPA to 9. And so some of my friends were very supportive. First of all, name Sandeep Kurana is working in Qualcomm now. He was a pure Noida, Janakpuri based guy. Traditional Delhi area, right? He was a good friend of mine. So he always used to support me. All the other seniors also very supportive. Whenever they used to boost my morale, even though I got the lowest grade, I was about to show the door from the IIT campus. So they told her nothing, we'll all help. And my 6 month senior used to teach me device physics, various concepts. When I made, I still remember all the problems I solved. Instead of some unit like micro coulomb or something, I wrote a coulomb. But he told that this coulomb will eat the entire universe. You are just joking. Entire coulomb, this whatever your answer read, that's coulomb. This coulomb is the entire world. Yeah, he was telling me, right? I didn't know the concept. What is a coulomb? So he was trying to explain. I missed a micro or whatever some unit. I missed it, and calculation was totally wrong. So he was trying to correct me, right? But they're friendly people. I learned a lot. Talking about the experience there. Right? So it was very funny and it was a lot of trouble and but a lot of fun. Friends helped a lot, faculty helped a lot. But Dr. Datta was very severe on me. He's a very tough taskmaster. He's never friendly at all. He'll always find fault. Whatever we could do, almost to be in tears. Myself and my another friend, Ravichandran, who's on Texas Instruments, he's right now he's in Intel, US, basically, right? So myself and him were we took him supervisor, and he's a very tough taskmaster. He used to extract maximum work. We used to kind of literally find it very difficult to cope up with him, but end of that 6 months when he did finish the thesis, and he became friendly, right? He invited us to his home, became friendly. I spoke to him 3 years before he remembered me. Then we published a paper in one of the journal. It took a year and a half to publish. It's not IEEE, but one of the IIT or something. I shared that particular device modeling paper. It's some sub-threshold modeling, something. That's what I did. Very interesting. I don't know what tools I used. I don't remember. Maybe some modeling. I think maybe I would have written my own program or something. Other paper I can read on the classroom if you're interested. Device modeling, who are interested. So we started. One funny thing happened when the campus interview happened, right? So Texas Instruments was the company. There are not many companies come at that time. So in 1993, so Texas Instruments came to the campus. So myself, my other friend Ravichandran were from a similar background, similar projects were interviewed. We did very well. Similar questions were asked. We did very well. We used to compare notes. Right? We have similar CGPAs and similar thing, similar interview. One question I didn't answer correctly. It means it's all like open-ended questions what they ask, behavioral questions typically, right? So I think some of you did a mock interview. I did a behavioral interview, right? So I'll continue to do when I do the SOB interviews. I continue to do that, right? So they asked, are you interested in circuit and modeling or circuit analysis? The question was, are you interested in circuit simulation? There is my bad time. I told no. Right now I'm doing fault model. I'm doing device modeling. I'm interested in device modeling. That's what I told them. So that guy said thanks, and that was the interview, right? Then they announced the offers. My name was not there, right? Just because then I realized the opening is for a circuit simulation, analog circuit simulation role. Even though I've done papers, I've done a lot of space simulations. Since my passion was more on device modeling at that time, the one twist of a tongue, I lost the job. Texas Instruments. My friend got a job. I didn't get a job. Then I tried in a few companies there in Usha Matra in Delhi, in Gurgaon. I went for an interview. I was turned down. There were simple questions asked. I couldn't answer properly. Some asked to design a state machine. I got a little bit tense. I couldn't answer. Then I got an interview with Mentor Graphics, was known as some other company by name. I forgot the name. That was in Hyderabad. I did an interview there. I couldn't get through. There was more of a, they're looking for more of a software skills. Mentor Graphics was known as some other company. That company got acquired and got renamed to Mentor Graphics later on in Hyderabad. I forgot the company name. It's about 30 years, right? So I couldn't get through. But then the public sector company came to the campus. They hired me. The company was Electronic Corporation of India Limited. They're based in Hyderabad. They gave me an offer. The offer was about what, some 60,000 rupees per annum, some kind of thing, right? It was around that was money. I hardly used to get 5,000 rupees take home. No, that's all, right? That's all we used to get in 1993. Inflation is that we can calculate the dollar price and gold price or the rice or dal price in 1993 to 2023, 30 years from, you can calculate. And you calculate the salaries, like how much it is, you can always calculate it because the inflation rate and you're also the economics, I'm sure you can do a math. Right? So that's the salary we got, 60,000 rupees hardly, and take home was like hardly 4,000, 5,000 rupees. We are happy. And when I came to the campus, right, I was hired for some particular purpose. I didn't know what was job description. We don't know what to ask. We don't know anything. We got a job. I was happy I got a job. Went there and when joined, my uncle was in Hyderabad, so he took me to Hyderabad. And I think I did something. Then the first time the personal officer, their HR, there was no HR. The concept was personal officer in the public sector. Right? There's no HR. They're equivalent to HR. Or personal officer. He made a comment at me for something. I don't know what for. I don't remember. It cannot be like this. So something he passed a comment on me, and I understood that. Right. And so I joined, and I was taken to my reporting officer there, and we went there, and that was a printed circuit board division. That group was called Components Group. It was a printed circuit board division, right? So they used to design PCBs. So my first boss name was, he was a senior manager at that time. His name was K.S. Murthy. What a K.S. stands for? K stands for Kadiyala, I remember. S stands for whatever, maybe Satyanarayana Murthy or whatever it is. Or I think Suryanarayana Murthy, I remember now. Kadiyala Suryanarayana Murthy. We call KSM. That's what used to be called. KSM. We used to call KSM or a SAR or whatever it is. Mostly KSM used to call it. Right? And he was there, and he was heading that particular department. So my role was not different because they're about to form a VLSI group there. That was I was hired. I came to know later. And there was nobody there. I was only one person there. I didn't know what to do. There's no job assigned to me. All they had a Sun workstation. You guys, you don't know what is a Sun workstation there. I don't know if you have seen it or not. So they had one Sun workstation on HP terminal. It's called a workstation terminal, right? So since I know Linux very well, I was playing around. They were surprised that I know Linux. 1993, right? I started doing the system administration of the Linux. I got the root access, and I learned a lot. I used to help them out on setting various things. So they were very happy, right? Because nobody had access to the control. I got the control over the system. It's very expensive system in those days, maybe few lakhs or whatever worth, right? I don't know what is the value of that, right? So we used to work on that, and so I got control of the system, and people started respecting me for my knowledge on Linux. It's not Linux, it was Unix, Sun OS, right? So since I worked on similar terminals in Kanpur, I could, but I didn't work on the root permission, super root permission, but I got the root access. I know I need to manage the system level. System used to crash. I had to load the operating systems. So I got the admin, but there's no other job to do at that time, right? Slowly they asked me to do a PCB design, draw schematics, do PCB design, work with the actual designers who design boards. So slowly I got to understand how people were designing boards, how they were using systems. Then I understand, I was doing the PCB layouts. So slowly over a period of a year, I was understanding how to do schematics of the design, how to do layouts of the PCB. right? How PC was fabricated. We had a fabrication plant. How components were assembled, how they were tested. So I got slowly over this the system level aspects, right? So that was the first level. Second level, the start exercise started. So the first phase of recruitment, we had a grant from the ECIL was under Department of Atomic Energy, right? So we got a funding from there. We got some 5 lakh funding or something, very small funding. So the 2 phases they gave the funding. So during the first funding, we are asked to buy some tools, and they involved some circuit simulation tools. So there was a tool called Saber. For using analog simulations, we can design. And we got some FPGA design, that is from Xilinx and Ultra were there. I think one of the vendors we got. I went, there's a company called CG Core, they exist. I went to Pune and got trained. There was only schematic entry. Verilog was not still famous there. During the time, all the entry was through Verilog, right? Entry was through schematics. That's how the FPGA was designed in those days. Verilog was just entering. The US people were doing it. India, it was not entering. I'm talking about the year 1994, 95, right? So that we designed FPGAs and so at the time I got introduced about what is asynchronous, what is synchronous. You cannot put asynchronous logic into this thing. I used a lot of questions I used to ask. I had the talent of asking questions, right? So the managers there, I forgot the name. His name was something I had to recollect. One of my junior was application engineer in that college. I got connected. We got so all the installation of the tool. They used to have floppy disk. Used to carry some 50, 60 floppy disk to come to our office to install, right? So that now you have everything you download from the web, or then after the CDs came, DVDs came, everything. We had a floppy disk at the time, right? You used to carry 50, 60 floppy disk, and you used to install very painful process to install tools, right? So that's how we learned. But I got learned what is the asynchronous, what is synchronous, and how to design synchronous systems, right? And how not to do asynchronous, what are the problems to do asynchronous in FPGA, but all through schematic entry, right? No Verilog comes out at the time, right? So Verilog was there, but not very famous. I think we didn't learn anything Verilog. Just learned how to draw a schematic, how to simulate it, and how to implement an FPGA, how to get the placement, how to look at burn the bitstream on the board, right? And how to test it. That was a training about, and we learned that. Came back to my corporate, the public sector undertaking, and so now the management and announced to all the groups, the data company saying that now we got one of my employee trained. You give him a lot of job. He's jobless. Give him a lot of work. Convert all your boards and your designs into FPGAs. Right? People came with there and they have no idea about the hardware design. They are old time designers, right? So they know they put delay lines, they put something all junk and logic, all asynchronous designs. They did like that and say, can you put how do you put a delay line into the FPGA? You cannot delay like that. You have everything has to be synchronous, has to be clock based. So they used to wonder something. They had to rethink. I used to force them to redesign because I was kind of expert. Nobody had that knowledge, right? I had hardly 2 years of experience, but that people were respecting me, right? Because whatever little knowledge I had, right? Remember, I didn't know Verilog at that time. So people used to, we designed FPGAs, they ported some communication systems slowly, and we designed FPGAs. Since I know how to do the board, how to do schematics, I do design schematics. We work with them and do simulations, did FPGAs, we prove them, sit with them in the lab and debug the FPGAs. Then design the PCBs for them. Slowly, that's how I get the system level knowledge, working with them, debugging. Now, I will say a lot of knowledge, but little bit of knowledge I was to appreciate and things like that. Then my second assignment was doing this assignment for other companies, to DRDO and that kind of thing, right? So I was to do sales, marketing, execution, everything is one-man army. Right? I got some interns to work with me, 2 interns, who will be rolled over as a full-time employee later on, right? They're from local colleges like from Usman University and JNTU, right? So I got some 3-4 interns. So with them, I had to do the job, but I was a senior most. I was a lead. I was just 3 years experience. I used to go to DRDO and similar government companies, and they used to listen because they are government. They had to give the project to Bharat Electronics and such kind of companies. So I used to travel to Bangalore from Hyderabad by train, no flight, and by bus or a train we used to take. I used to go and explain what is my skill set and get the order from them, get the job, come back and then execute the project, go back, demonstrate, and deliver the FPGA to them. Right. So at that time, laptops were not the very rare commodity. The computer department had one laptop. So after a lot of negotiation, they gave a laptop with the internet connection. There used to be a PCMCA card, right, for getting internet access. So they had that kind of card for internet access because I had to transfer files and things like that, right? So I got that kind of a card. You have to put that card or PCMCA. You can search in internet what is PCMCA. So that kind of card used to be there for internet access or some dial-up connection. You have to connect to a telephone line. If you go through a telephone line, and you get connected. Very low speed, right? That's how it happened. So a lot of fun. Learned a lot of good basic concept of education, everything I learned. Right? That's my first job. But after that, what happened is next step again, second phase of the funding happened. So we bought some tools, more tools. So we got some hardware emulation tools, hardware software co-design tools. We can put a board, actual board, whatever boards we design, right? We can emulate the boards. And we can do a hardware acceleration kind of thing. We can run actual simulation can run in the hardware board, right? So we did that kind of a job for some time. So that was interesting. We used that system, and I don't remember all the details, but we did hardware acceleration and those kind of things. So we did that. Was interesting job. It was happening. Right? That was more on digital side, a little bit of analog, right? And but then the actual breakthrough happened in sometime in the year 2006, 2007, I believe. And there's a person called Dr. Sridhar Mint. I can still look in his website, in LinkedIn. So he was vice president of Wipro at the time, Wipro Infotech, or Wipro Infotech. He was a vice president at the time, in the year 1995, 96, right? Or 96, 97, whatever it is, right? He was from ECIL. He was working in the same company. So my boss knew him. So he also had a soft corner for ECIL. So come, I'll train you people. We are 4 people were there. So come, you send me the 4 people in Bangalore for 2 months. We'll train you. And then we'll give you some work. You come back and execute it. But he gave a lot of terms and conditions. You have to execute this on time. If you complete it before time, I'll give you more money. If you finish late, no, zero money kind of thing, right? So how I do, I'll give you grading. It's very similar to that. Right? That's what happened. And we got a project. We worked on ATM Utopia, and the very state-of-the-art technology that can be used, right? He also write a verification model. So we are all trained on Verilog, on how to write a synthesizable Verilog code, how to use a synopsis compiler to synthesize that, how to run Verilog. They learned Verilog simulations. And so we got all the concepts, right? So that's in the year 97, 98, we learned Verilog, how to simulate. The 4 of us were pillars, basically, we learned. Then we came back and thought to show the people what is Verilog and how to do it and everything. And we didn't do FPGAs, but more of a modeling of Verilog, that host assignment, creating a ATM Utopia layer model. And I think so we did that, we delivered to them and got a next project on a IEEE fireware, right? So that is one of the IEEE 1394, if I believe, right? You can Google and see IEEE fireware. So I was doing a project, co-executing with them, basically not ownership, but they gave us a block which you have to maintain. So somebody was leaving Wipro, I got the role. Then we had to do that, maintain the RTL and fixing bugs for that. But very interesting. I learned a lot of things about RTL and fixing bugs of the modules. That was one particular role I did for Wipro at the time, working in Bangalore, Wipro office. Then they gave us one more project. I forgot the name, whatever it is. One of their person was a lead. There was a process over there. There was already a ISO process. ISO, what, 1901, whatever, I forgot the standard, right? There was ISO standard. So there's a process we have to follow, right? Design planning, project planning, whatever it is. Whatever I'm telling you these days, I did it in 1996, so 25 years before, 27 years before I've done all those things. A lot of planning, systematic way how to do it. So everything you have to document, everything as your schedule has to be documented, who's doing what. Because since I was a lead, I had more more burden to do all those things, right? Documentation, everything, right? System procedures, everything, additional technical work, right? I have to make sure that my team delivers. I have to do my own work. So we got some decent amount of work to deliver and do it. So while I was working on that, I was exposed to the open forum also, right? These guys gave me only one ID called ECIL@vipinfo.soft.net. That was the email ID given to 4 of us. They didn't give 4 email IDs, they'll give me 1 email ID. Since I was early, I had the access, right? So I used to go to the public forums and ask questions on the standard. Because this is open, nobody is going to teach you. You have to learn by reading the standard. Sometimes you don't understand the standard. I was working more on a Mac layer, not a physical layer, more on the Mac side. So I used to ask questions. The open forum, there's an open community where you, something like whatever community, you just post questions by email. There's a response has to come by email, right? So that's why there's no Facebook or LinkedIn or no social media at that time, right? Only emails were there, right? So send email. So one day, one gentleman observed my emails in that email communication thread. He asked me, "Are you from ECIL?" I told yes. So let me stop this video here and I'll continue in the next session, right? That was a turning point in my life, basically, right? So we'll start from that conversation. Second part of my second job, I'm going to transition out of ECIL to my second job, to a startup company, the next conversation. So that was the next video. So see you soon.